Hello everyone and welcome to the Animezilia, and today we're going to be talking about Yu-Gi-Oh! Vrains episode 17. And boy oh boy, what an interesting episode this was. So, we start off by learning what both Soulburner and Revolver are going to be doing after these current events have ended. And thanks to Soulburner, it looks like Revolver will not be going to jail. Revolver was basically content with the way things have ended and was ready to atone for his sins, his crimes as being the leader of the Knights of Hanoi, and he was ready to basically turn himself in. However, Soulburner has different opinions and views. Instead, Soulburner wants him to watch over the network, and he also wants him to remember the pain and sadness that the lost incident created, as those who are involved will probably one day forget everything that had happened. Soulburner wants to live a peaceful life where he can no longer remember the events of the lost incident. Whether that would actually happen, I don't know. It seems like he has moved on, but at the same time, we really forget the reason why your mum and dad died. I don't know. Anyway, so Revolver has to become this guardian, this protector, this all-watchful eye over the network. Now, I did think that making Revolver kind of remember and be the only one to remember all of this was a bit brutal, especially for Revolver's character. However, if we're taking the Guardian narrative, what if Soulburner was going for the more making Revolver a protector so that the lost incident never happens again or nothing like it happens? That would be more of a plausible kind of way to spin this narrative that makes it less harsh for Revolver, but at the same time gives him something to kind of atone towards. That's just my thoughts on it. Oh, and it's cool to see Soulburner is going to go home and live like he did before all of this. But I guess now he's more confident and he's a better person all round. So, you know, seeing him go back, he won't exactly be the exact same person. Maybe he'll keep his appearance and won't go back to the rough, tough looking look that he had. Who knows? And was it only me, but it was slightly odd seeing Revolver without his visor, as we've hardly seen him as Ryoken throughout the series. Like, we've seen it a few episodes, but his appearance without his visor is very similar to his appearance as Ryoken, just with different colour hairstyle. It took me a minute to kind of look at Revolver's character without the visor and go, what does that character remind me of? I've seen that character somewhere, and then it clicked. Okay, so after all this, we're kind of in this mellow kind of situation where Playmaker, Yusaku, whichever one you want to go with, is kind of preparing himself to go towards this final battle. And I will admit, I did like the scene between Yusaku and Ryoken. That moment before Playmaker goes off and fights, and we see Ryoken throwing a card towards him without warning, and just a catch that was made, it was awesome. I love the fact that Ryoken just appears on the front of the boat and it looks like no one's driving it, and he just like sort of sails off after throwing this card without exchanging too many words. Just, you know, it was a brilliant scene. And I love the fact that Yusaku doesn't actually look at the card. He trusts Ryoken that much to the point where he just casually puts the card into his deck, even though it might possibly unbalance it, or, adding one card could possibly ruin your chances of pulling the cards you want to pull. I don't really understand the whole kind of card game as such in terms of competitiveness, but, it's my insight. You rather want to have less cards in your deck, so you pull the cards that you really want, instead of having too many cards and not pulling the cards that you actually desire. But I thought this scene was cool, nevertheless. So, before we get to the actual duel, we do get a bit more of an insight into Ai's plan, as we see a factory of eyes, and these are his Solstice sort of appearance, And they're being created in Soltech, within their factory. This is so that Ai can copy himself and have copies of himself roaming around, rebuilding themselves and defining who they will become based on their own experiences. So basically, we're going to have 1,000 sort of Ais that look exactly the same, and they're all going to be going into the big wide world, learning, developing, and making decisions for themselves. Ai's kind of response to why he's doing this is because he doesn't want to be lonely, but Ai even states that he doesn't know what will happen. Some might be friendly towards humans, some might create their own islands. However, despite knowing this, can we really trust what Ai is saying? Because throughout the entire series, Ai has proved to be very unreadable. And especially throughout this arc, no one really knows what his endgame is. Maybe this is actually his plan and he wants to do it, or maybe he's up to something else. But what I did like and what did pique my interest was the fact that no one can come back, nor can the copy creation plan be stopped unless Ai loses a duel. Now, this is a generic kind of thing that they do with Yu-Gi-Oh, but I still think it was kind of a nice way to do it because it does stop Ai from having a change of heart. But is that really true? As he could always lose a duel on purpose? But then again, Ai is quite a prideful character. And if that pride doesn't stop him from forfeiting or whatnot, then, not plausible that Ai would surrender. But I'll come to something in a minute, that was horribly phrased. Sorry about that, but I will elaborate on what I think Ai is actually doing in this duel towards the end of the review. But despite that, however, one thing is very much at the centre of Ai's motives. And that is, he just wants AIs in general to have a chance for survival. As it'll be up to the copies to choose their own path, it wouldn't be up to Ai. Ai would not kind of interfere or, say you gotta do this, do that, do that, do this, do that. These copies will be purely on their own experiences and develop as they go along. And he does state that this could be a good thing, or it could end up as a disaster. The duel's about to start, and just before it does, let's just take a moment to look at the animation quality and the detail on both characters. They look amazing on both duelists, and in fact, even the animation throughout this entire last part of the episode was brilliant. Even the summoning panels, where you see the monsters kind of, do their pose and then their attack point comes up, even that looks nice and clean. Honestly, some of the best quality of animation that we've had so far from this series, and with the kind of recent information that it possibly might be ending soon, that is quite sort of upsetting that we're getting this such good quality animation towards the end, but, it's understandable. We do get a few new cards from both characters. Nothing really seems to jump out at me as being brilliant in terms of those cards. The only good one I can think of is Ai's new card, where it allows him to turn monsters into spells and traps, so he can reuse Ai Island again. I thought that was pretty cool and quite unique, and it gives us something that's a bit different than what we've seen before. Normally with Ai, it's just been the same old, same old. Same with Rabapi, it was the same old first turn, but now it's slightly different, and I like that. Changing up a bit is quite good. And the ending seems to look a bit problematic for our main protagonist. So, how's it all going to end? How's it going to go? Nobody knows at the moment, but honestly, I'm looking forward to see how this duel plays out. We all know that something crazy is bound to happen within the next few episodes, and I'm starting to get Yuma versus Astral / Yugi versus Atem vibes from this duel. Like I said earlier, I'm going to elaborate on what I think Ai is actually doing in this duel. As we have a segment from Playmaker where he's like, Ai, you've been watching me for over 5 years, guiding me to where I am now. You led me to the Cybursts. You got me back into dueling. Little by little, you did these little things that we picked up on. You made it so that Kusanagi would go into the vrains and find me. You know, everything that you've done has been up to this point. And honestly, it looks like Ai is testing Yusaku. And to prove the fact that Yusaku has developed and grown and moved on from this lost incident ordeal. So in this case, Ai is technically the mentor and Playmaker is the student. And he must prove he's come over all of these hurdles from his training and beat the mentor. Anyways, what did you guys think of this episode? I really enjoyed it and I can't wait to see the next episode. Who do you think is going to win this duel? And what card was it that Ryoken gave to Playmaker? Let me know all your thoughts down in the comment section below. But with that out of the way, that's going to do it for this review. All in all, a great episode, and I would highly recommend for you to go and watch it if you haven't done so already. But with all that said and done, I hope you have an amazing day, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye for now. There you go, I clicked.